I hosted a tournament where players could only use frog, turtle, and toad Pokemon. There ended up being a crazy meta that evolved, and near the end, we saw maybe the coolest use of a move you never see competitively to clutch an unwinnable matchup. I had some of my YouTube buddies join and compete against my viewers, and of course, got to see how I stacked up against the competition. There will be heartbreak, unheard of techs, reverse sweeps, and more. But before we get to all of this, we have to clarify some tournament rules and size up the roster. We're battling in best of 3 matches with Gen 9 National Dex draft rules. This lets us use terrestrialization while keeping the basic Smogon clauses. The available Pokemon from the Turtles are the Blastoise line, Torkoal, Torterra line, Caracosta line, Shuckle, Turtonator, and Dreadnought line. The Frog and Toad representatives include the Venusaur line, Poliwrath and Politoed line, Toxicroak line, Seismitoad line, Bellibolt line, Ludicolo line. It's based on a Kappa, we needed more Mons. And last but certainly not least, the Greninja line, who going into the tournament was seen as the scariest Mon to prep for with its great abilities, stats, and coverage. We'll rate how each of these Mons performed in the shell games at the end. As far as bans go, the Kanto Megas were banned, along with Terapagos for balance. And for all those who say Heatran should have been in this, it's not a frog as much as we want it to be. By the way, if you're looking to take your skills to these themed tournaments, be featured on stream and in videos, all you have to do to enter is join my Discord server where I host them and sign up. We do these once a month, and hopefully I get this video up before the Canine and Feline tournament registration is closed, as that tournament is set for Saturday, August 23rd. If you see yourself in this video, make sure to leave a comment. Let's get into the first round. Welcome to the Shell Games. Here we go, gamers. The first round of the bracket was a feeler, since it was pretty much impossible to test your teams out. You didn't know the creative and diabolical sets people were running to counter the problem Pokemon. A nice Terra Ghost, taking advantage that we're allowing Terra. There were a few common roles we saw in most matches. Shuckle was obviously a great lead, despite being weak to all the water type moves. It was the only Mon that could set sticky webs, along with having access to other valuable support options like Encore, Stealth Rock, and trapping moves. Torkoal vs Politoed Weather Wars were definitely raging, with Politoed having the type advantage, but having to worry about the slower Torkoal gaining its weather due to Drought activating second, and threatening big damage with Solar Beams. We had a bunch of Shell Smashers, which had a fire counterplay tech we'll get into, along with having to deal with Swiss Swimmers aplenty. Sun teams didn't have a ton of options, but they were definitely well represented, with Chlorophyll Venusaur having a great matchup against pretty much everything. I quickly noticed how good Bellibolt was in this format. It's the only electric type, making it already threatening to most of the roster. It has great all-around bulk, being a serviceable Greninja answer, often scaring it out, can carry screen and status support, and even uninvested, this goober hits insanely hard with its good special attack stat in combination with the ability Electromorphosis. Its Volt Switch was only blockable by Torterra, and I quickly found out that it absolutely shredded my squad in my first game I played against Sam and Cashew. Bellibolt coming in. Take a little bit from the Grass Knot there, it's charged up now. Seems a little bit weak to this, eh? I got pretty wrecked in this first match, having to adjust to the format, bringing kind of a goofy team, but I definitely don't want to go out in the first round like I did in the last tournament I hosted. Not the best first matchup. Look at a more effective team. I was able to adjust in games 2 and 3, bringing some creative sets, fun for the whole family. Okay, the Leech Seed stall was kind of disrespectful, but this Greninja set was pretty fire and caught on real quick in the tournament. Alright, this could be big. This could be big. Alright, the Mirror Herb tech came off. Bullet punches for a little bit of chip. It's not a bad start for your boy. Mirror Herb is probably my favorite new item they introduced. It was a great matchup, and luckily I was able to take a dub in a real close series against a great opponent. Well, your boy didn't get eliminated in round 1 this time. Good game, Sam and Cashew. You really have me on my heels there. We see some of my fellow Pokemon YouTubers make it past the first round as Expel takes out Eviolite Menace with a scary lead Shell Smash Dreadnought, featuring a cool Power Whip Terragrass Seismitoad on the other side. I wasn't able to catch all of these games live on stream as so many were taking place all at once, so expect some more live reactions later on as the field of competitors shrinks. Shoop Gaming ended up with a DQ win in round 1, likely due to scaring his opponent away from the tournament with his threatening aura, while Winterbub showed the first glimpse of a very effective defensive pivot Blastoise in a Fire Terra Ice Dreadnought that we will end up seeing again. Toxicroak showed its worth, having great synergy with Politoed's Rain, while simultaneously blanking its stab with its Dry Skin ability. It just had to watch out for Torkoal, which definitely didn't synergize with it, as the sun made it crustier than SpongeBob in Sandy's Dome. There were a lot of great first round matchups that I didn't even get around to watching until making this video, so I definitely want to highlight some of the buds who joined and got eliminated early without being on stream. In round 2, Expel came up against Bruce P, who has been playing in pretty much every tournament and has proven himself as a big threat to win no matter the format. We see an unfortunate sweep thanks to the Mirror Herb and some misplays as Bruce takes game 1. Game 2 is a bit more competitive and a pretty toxic match if I'm being honest. It was close, but Bruce eliminates Expel in a good series. Danny, another tournament vet, goes against Shoop, where we see the power of Terra and the bulk of Bellibolt on display. Turtonator's damage output not looking too great. Game 2 of this matchup introduced some creative text from both sides and a pretty hilarious ending. It's also like a paper, scissors, rock. Ooh, the Terra Ice. Nice play, Shoop. We're gonna Thunder Punch. Not quite enough. It's gonna get healed, actually. Is that the embarrassing part you're talking about? Yeah, this Toxicroak should have died at like 19%, but now it's at 94. Terra Flying. Hydro. No, what? What are you doing? This has to be on purpose. No way. Okay, at least that's not doing much. Okay. It was all a bit. Okay, Danny. It was all a bit. I get it. You knew how thick Bellibolt was. A lot of the highlights of the tournament came in these earlier rounds where plenty of fun strategies popped up. Later on, as the tournament meta evolved, we ended up seeing teams that you feel would even work in regular competitive tiers. They were really built that well. But I always have a soft spot for crazy movesets and players trying something unique, even if it doesn't yield the best results. Flare faced off against tournament veteran Gruce Cujo. Flare ended up taking a first match win and a double Shuckle Sticky Web matchup. The second match is where I think I felt maybe the worst for a player ever. Maybe it was karma for using Sand Tomb over Infestation on Shuckle, but it wasn't fair what happens here. It's looking good for Flare, getting some hacks, and Gruce making some questionable plays, but it's still a very winnable game. Toxicroak comes out, gets the 99% roll against opposing Toxicroak. They go trade for trade a bit, and now it's coming down to a Toxicroak who has Protect the heal up in the rain against a pretty defensive Politoed. Earthquake looks like it's going to do the trick. I'll just let my reaction take it from here. To get more recovery, good play. It's a lot of recovery. Just need to dodge a freeze here, which you don't. Yikes. This could get dicey. Oh no. If you survive on one, surely you'll thaw here. Surely. Oh no. Surely your Turtonator's faster though. Well, at least you're gonna make the video highlight reel with that performance. Really unfortunate way to go out, but a good way to get featured in the video if that's any consolation. During a matchup between Marble Gamers and Bob the Corn Cob, I confidently reveal my strategy to win the tournament. I think I'm gonna go with a Shiesty team next. My strategy, I think, here on out is I'm gonna lose the first game with a meme team and then try to come back with like serious teams after. You guys like that? Also, check out this Belly Bolt. Iron Defense Turtonator coming out. Iron Defense Turtonator times 2. Probably one of the better mons that can stand up to Belly Bolts here. Thunder! Thunderbolt and Thunder? This match was one of my favorites, with Marbles spamming double protects and seeing a few moves we haven't really seen yet. Oh, misses the Hydro Pump. That would have been big damage. Oh, misses the Hydro Pump. That would have been big damage. Of course, gets the pair on the next turn. Hits the Hydro Pump when paired, of course. A bunch of other great games happened in round 2. Some people didn't end up showing up, so clips don't exist for some of these matchups, but some quick highlights here to show some love for my buds who made it past round 1. Now it was time to try to advance to a guaranteed winning record. I took on Flare here. I am ready for my second battle. My second battle, I rolled up with some NFE mons because I wanted to at least give them a bit of screen time. Probably not the best idea when my opponent knows what they're doing, but I do it for the content. I also learned an important lesson with a mechanic that set me back. Gets the poison, that sucks. Oh, Yawn fails? I thought Yawn went through sub. But if you remember, Flare advanced with the help of a crucial freeze from the previous round. And as Ricky from Trailer Park Boys says, what comes around is all around. And I'll let Greninja take it from here. Freeze? Oh, the freeze, of course I got it. Alright, Grass not gonna take that out. If I knew I was gonna freeze, I'd have a Toxicroak. This would be winnable. Oh, you're not sturdy? Oh! How did I win that? It might be karma, it might be my plot armor, but I feel like I avenged Groose there. But yeah, I definitely didn't deserve that win. Oh, delicious. After that impressive gulp, I'm ready to out-shuckle Flare Shuckle expertly and set the tone for the battle. I looked pretty cooked coming to the end of this battle until the unthinkable happened. Yo, Bucket Boys! You just watched me choke with my belly drum. I thought I was gonna be faster. Oh, I am faster. Was that a speed tie? Yo, Bucket Boys! My Poliwrath is faster thanks to that. I think you still win here, unless I can get another freeze. Or dodge your gunk shots. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh no. After that expert display of skill and strategy, we move on to quarterfinals and head over to some other matches. Space Muffins takes on Montmelier, where we see the power of Torterra. I'm loving all the buffs it got recently to make it such a threatening mon. Uxalon comes up against Wario, who was shiesty enough to bring a Seismic Toss Poliwhirl, which is instant respect. It kinda put in the most work in Game 1 too. Unfortunately, Game 2, tragedy struck for Wario. Okay, see this turn 1 Shell Smash again. We see the Mirror Herb, that's kinda like the meta now. Dark Pulse, gonna take it out. Battle Bonds. Might be the Queen's Sleep. Oh. Critical hit. Oh, that's unfortunate. Sorry about that, Wario. You got Mirror Herbed. I'm gonna take this time to show off some of the other match highlights real quick. Once again, there was so much going on, and while I was fighting for my life on stream with immense pressure from my viewers to take home a dub, there were multiple other games going on at the same time. A lot of new faces were here for this tournament as well, so getting to see some of the new talent is very exciting, and I'm expecting to see some return for future tournaments. My quarterfinal match came up against Ma. That's what we're calling them. I'm not trying to butcher that name. Everything was just smashing this set. Shuckle and Blastoise were on damage control, but in the end, another misplay cost me. You're gonna Shell Smash again? Alright. I'm a Shell Smash. We're all smashing. Oh no, not Rock Blast. I was Focus Sashed. I made it close, but was overwhelmed by the offensive pressure. Game 2, I brought back All Reliable. My Greninja looked pretty stacked for a bit. Very. Can we get a flinch? Oh, that just kills. No way, that just kills. A weather war back and forth ended up being the story. If you're wondering about the nicknames, my buddy Magnus Pokemon built this team originally to compete, but had to withdraw. He gave me some squads, which was much appreciated, so I didn't have to reuse the same ones over again. And this one fortunately did pretty well to secure game 2 in my favor. We both ended up bringing the opposite weathers from last match. This time I had sun and they had rain. Heading into game 3, I was pretty nervous as I felt my opponent was a very solid competitive player. I definitely felt my luck was used up from the previous matches, so I had to rely on my years of draft league experience if I wanted to squeeze out a win. It was definitely a slower game as we played our swaps carefully. Roar Turtonator definitely saved me mid-game from a sweep, but my biggest choke was clicking Solar Beam with Torkoal as the Politoed swapped in. They've been swapping in Blastoise against Torkoal a bunch that game, and I was too careful not to throw away my weather against a potential Politoed swap. But after being conditioned a few times, I made the call and it was the wrong one. My team started dropping and my options dwindled. My only hope remaining was my Greninja, who still struggled against Swift Swim Ludicolo. Mounting a decent comeback, I had to rely on luck again if I wanted to win. Unfortunately, I didn't gain another timely freeze and lost in the quarterfinals in a really intense series. Congrats, Ma. You better win so I can at least say I lost to the champ. But now that I was out, I could fully concentrate on the remaining contestants. Bruce P moved on to a matchup against UFO, all stronger players at this point, which makes for a more competitive game. This one really looks locked up for Bruce until Terra does save him there. Roleplay? The roleplay. Yo, this is immaculate. Close combat? Yo! Now that was a highlight reel play right there. The roleplay to copy the chlorophyll. Reverse sweep. Yeah, that was a crazy play. I didn't even know Toxicroak had roleplay. I mean, whoever uses that move. The combo with Terra was just the icing on the cake. Game 2 really couldn't compete with the end of Game 1. UFO was able to completely dominate there. Good games to both contestants and sincere thanks for the content. Danny took on UFO next, both coming off good matchups. Danny kind of lucked out here in Game 1. Terra Water. If he gets to 5 hits though. Oh, gets the 5 hits and the crit. If the rolls there weren't enough, this nasty freeze to let Greninja run over the rest of the team will make your stomach curl. Yeah, cookies. This set the pace for the series as we see this in Game 2. Nice Terra Water. Oh! Oh, UFO is gonna uninstall System 32 from his computer. A free Shell Smash Torterra definitely sealed UFO's fate, as we see the luckier player sometimes is just flat out better. Also shout out Winterbub for the gifted members during this match. Really appreciate the support there. Check out his channel if you're into competitive showdown content. Speaking of, Winterbub faces off against Uxalon in a Sun vs Sun semifinals match. Winterbub brings a very effective support Blastoise, packing Rapid Spin and Flip Turn. Both gamers trying their hardest to get up hazards while also keeping them off their side of the field. A Growth Venusaur provides big issues though, and even though Winterbub tries their best to stall those Sun turns, the damage done was too much and Uxalon takes Game 1 in convincing fashion. I spent a lot of time during this matchup talking about the upcoming Canine Feline tournament format, which you can still sign up for until Friday, August 22nd by the way, to be featured in the next video. Back to the match, a really unfortunate turn 25 comes up for Uxalon. Blastoise might be able to take another. Oh, the 10% flinch. That's too bad. but a quick recovery sways the battle the other way. Two great players showing us how it's done. Danny and Ma went next in semis, and this Dreadnought went kind of hard. Danny fights back with their Torterra, but ultimately, the burn Terra meant opposing Torterra was free to click buttons after smashing without having to predict. Game 2 ended up being a case of not sending in the right Mons at the right time. It was a great run from Danny, but in the end, Ma clutched it out. So now we have Danny versus Winterbub in the semifinals and Ma versus Uxalan fighting it out in the finals. Third place will get covered real quick as Danny and Winterbub duke it out in a classic rain vs sun matchup. A Terra Ghost Torkoal denies a spin for Danny as their hazard control perishes to the Solar Beam. Defensive Blastoise pretty much was stalwart and walled hard while gaining momentum. Meanwhile, Terra Ghost Torkoal made it so it could easily come in and get rid of rain whenever. It was really a great display of team synergy. Danny starts to bring it back with some muddy water accuracy drops into dodges. I was a firm believer of the comeback at this time, but ultimately it wasn't quite enough. Game 2 looked relatively even until the Shuckle came in and got up hazards and started spreading status around, putting immense pressure on. The Encore being just the icing on the cake, forcing Blastoise out and denying any potential spin with the Terra Ghost. Life Orb Venusaur was pretty much free to clean up with some help from Dreadnought in the end. Both of these players earning their spot in the Hall of Fame, finishing 3rd and 4th. But now it's time for finals. Uxalan versus Ma in some hot frog on frog action. Game 1 of finals started out with Ma taking a quick lead, getting up webs and KOing the Sunsetter. Two Torterras stare each other down, spitting seeds in each other's faces, with Uxalan ultimately gaining momentum from this point on. Greninja can't clutch with the flinches, and Game 1 goes to Uxalan quite convincingly with a 5-0. Game 2 started off with Uxalan burning the Terra immediately to gain status on Torterra, ultimately taking it out. Shuckle was able to lay some webs, but Politoed was actually putting in some nice work here. Bellybolt tanks Greninja, while Turtonator shows why it is kind of lower tier in this tournament. Return of defensive Blastoise allows webs to be cleared, Battle Bond Greninja comes out, and things are looking pretty good until Ma swaps out the boosted Greninja and essentially gives Ludicolo full reign to beat up on the rest of the team. It sucks and surfs its way to the championship as Uxalan wins in another convincing 5-0 to sweep the series. Thanks again to everyone who joined. Here is the final bracket with the results. Congrats again to the winners who were entered into the Hall of Fame on the Discord. Uxalan gets to enjoy their flashy tournament winner flair, and congrats to Ra, who was Ma, on scoring highest on the predictions, guessing the finals matchup correctly, just having the winner wrong. As far as tier list for how the Mons performed, I'm gonna just flash it on the screen here. I only included the fully evolved Mons, as no NFVs really made a big impact. Bellybolt was a lot better than I would have initially thought, being one of the best defensive Mons. Greninja was obviously one of the scariest offensive threats and fastest Mon in the tournament. Torkoal and Politoed kind of facilitated their teams by providing weather, so they are higher tier. Shuckle wasn't crazy, but the hazard support, along with Encore coming in clutch a lot, has it decently high. Toxicroak was solid all around, being able to stay healthy in rain and provide strong fighting stab. Venusaur was definitely amazing, one of the MVPs of the tournament, being the only chlorophyll abuser. Blastoise, I thought was a bit underwhelming offensively, but defensively it earned its place higher mid tier. Lower tier, we have Mons like Turtonator, which I thought was still better than Poliwrath, which was kind of just outclassed by other Swift swimmers, and even Toxicroak when it comes to fighting type. Caracosta and Seismitoad were decent and saw some use, but I didn't really notice many standout performances compared to other sweepers. Dreadnought I thought was really good, being faster than the other smashers, while being strong and fast in rain without setup. And finally, Ludicolo provided threatening coverage and some versatility, making it a great choice on many rain teams and earning it a higher tier. If you enjoy this type of content and made it to the end, leave a like so I know to keep on making it. If you want to support the channel, get additional Discord perks, tournament perks, early access to videos, and more, then consider becoming a channel member. Memberships start at just 99 cents Canadian, which is like 24 cents American right now. I appreciate all my current members and Patreon supporters, including Gold Bud Mr. Frank Beans and Bucket Boys. Thanks for watching, buds, and I'll see you soon.